Today's podcast is sponsored by the Perturbed Dragon Tavern. It says here that this establishment serves only the finest real ale and the best meat pies this side of Grim Harbour. Well, I can tell you that I visited this establishment a number of times a few years ago. I was part of a gaming group, but we had a falling out that was never resolved. Anyway, their beer tastes like puddle water, and their cocktail selection is almost non-existent. I'm fairly sure that their meat pies are made from rat meat. I was terribly ill after eating one. Anyway, if you feel you have to visit this festering hovel of a tavern, you'll find it just outside the western gate of Thorniston's Hale, the Perturbed Dragon Tavern. Who even comes up with these names? It's ridiculous.
Hello, and indeed hello, and welcome to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. My name is Russ, aka Morrus, and with me is my causality-violating compatriot,
Peter Coffey, from the Southampton Guild of Role Players. Yes, that clap you heard was in fact sent from the time stream forward, just to make sure that we were actually in sync, which will be a lot easier this week because I'm not in China.
Okay, so before we start, Peter,
yes.
I think we have to deal with something important.
What do we have to do?
Something we need to talk about.
Yes?
We've been admonished.
Admonished?
Admonished.
Told off?
Yeah.
Disciplined?
We failed.
Oh, no, sorry.
We failed in our duty.
Yeah, it seems likely. Which particular aspect of our duty did we fail in?
Our wonderful Patreon supporter, Bernie Monsanto, sent us this message.
Oh, yes.
And I feel he has a very, very, very good point. Mm-hmm. He says he loved the episode about Judge Dredd. Well, thank you, Bernie.
No.
Glad to hear it.
Oh, cheers.
Listening to it makes him want to think about playing it. Makes him want to think about playing it. So he's not actually thinking about playing it, but he wants to think about playing it.
Yeah.
That's like 2 steps away from playing.
Well, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
Just one thing, he asks.
Yes?
How much does the book weigh? Any podcast can give me a page number count, but only on Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk can I find out the weight of the book using science.
By jingo, he got the name of the podcast right.
He got the name of the podcast right, and he has an excellent point. We've been shirking our duty, and we should get on that straight away.
By we mean Russ.
Yeah.
Russ has been shirking his duty. I'm not here to keep him on the straight and narrow.
Well, I have prepared.
Wow. Is that an improvised melee weapon you have?
So there's some scales down there in the corner of the table.
Yes, Russ is pointing at some scales.
I have both the Judge Dredd Standard Edition and I have the Special Edition. Would you like to do the honours and weigh them?
Yes. Okay. Commencing experimental metrology.
Okay, so this is the Standard Edition.
Oh, a weighty beast. Is that? That's
Kilograms.
1.132 kilograms.
Wow.
That is impressive. I'll do it again.
Just to make sure.
Yeah. 1.132.
Okay.
Final time.
It's still going to be 1.132.
You'd think that, but anyway, yes, 1.132. Oh, a weighty beast.
There you go, Bernie. So the Standard Edition weighs 1.132 kilograms, and the Special Edition, what is that?
Shiny. 1.186.
Ever so slightly heavier.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why.
Getting an extra 50 grams, I think. Yes, an extra 50 grams.
Oh, there we go. So
Totally worth the money.
So we've done our duty.
Yeah.
We've weighed the books.
Just checking. It's a great day for metrology. We're actually getting the same result 3 times that. Beautiful.
It's almost like it's science.
Science! Anyway, so Bernie, we hope you're happy now. We should probably work out the page count, but we can actually just look in the books, I suppose.
Yeah, 274. There you go.
274 pages of Judge Dredd in the World 2000 AD with an extra bonus 50 grams if you get the deluxe edition, enhanced edition.
Yes.
The deluxe enhanced special edition.
I'm not sure what the extra 50 grams is composed of. That might be because I licked it before I gave it to you.
Ah, yes. Spittle. Osmosis.
50 grams of spittle. That sounds like quite a lot of spittle.
That's a lot of spittle. That's like 50 centilitres. I mean,
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's basically a Coke bottle full of spittle. I'm just throwing it out there, Russ.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there.
Okay. Let's move on.
Yeah. I hope no one's listening whilst they're eating their breakfast, for which I apologise.
Peter,
Russ.
what's been on your mind this week?
Oh, a Kickstarter from a chap I met at a convention.
Oh, okay.
He's called Ed Jarrett, and his Kickstarter's for Error the Chosen.
Okay.
It's coming to its final week, and I'm like, oh, actually, that's quite good. Unfortunately, I have been in China for some quite considerable time, but now I've come back, had a look, and it's all horror based and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a terrible name, by the way. Sorry, Ed, but it's like Error the Chosen. I would never have guessed it's a horror RPG. But what it is that it's all about if you've ever had that feeling that something's watching you, not Django, but like something that you can't see, then this is the game for you. It's like, yeah, it sounds quite exciting, and the error system.
So the fact that you're watching me right now, that doesn't count.
Yes, because you can see I'm watching you.
Oh, I see. What if I look over there?
And Russ has learned an important lesson about turning his back on me.
Oh, it's so good to have you back in the room. All these hijinks couldn't have happened while you were in China.
Exactly. Hijinks, metrology, zapping people in the ribs.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So anyway, Error the Chosen.
Error the Chosen. I'm going to call it Error. It's ERA. It's chosen. It's on Kickstarter. The final few days. Definitely worth your while looking up. So, what's caught your eye this week?
Oh, this is interesting.
Yes.
More science.
What?
More science. Apparently, get this, we're not the only people in the world who do science.
Well, no, we was aware of that.
All right. Well, this is new to me. See, there's this guy over on GitHub who...
That's a big computer programming repository, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Open source sort of jazz.
So he's called Cyberscribe, and he's got this project he's done called D20 Data Science. And what he's done is...
D20 Data Science.
Yes.
So we're not the only people doing science with respect to role-playing games.
That is correct.
Oh, scary.
There's someone else out there. We have competition.
Ah.
I suspect that his science might be slightly better than our science.
Hey, this is quality science here. It's got a proper name. Yeah, go on then. Well, what's his science?
Okay, so he's taken 5th edition rules.
Yes.
And he's written this sort of computer program which simulates lots and lots of combats by plugging in all these different variables to work out what is responsible for effectiveness in combat. What's the sort of biggest determination of success in combat, like mathematically speaking?
Yes.
So he's like plugs in all sorts of stuff, things like your attack modifier, the amount of damage you do, your hit points, armor class, your initiative score, and a whole load of stuff, tons and tons of it.
Yeah.
Run it through this whole simulator thing, and it would require a much better mathematician than I to actually explain how all this works. I don't really. There's lots of graphs.
Yes.
And they're nice graphs, and there's scatter diagrams, and there's equations and all sorts of things. For example, he classifies wizards using the K nearest neighbours, K equals 5, trained on generic monsters. I don't know what that means, but it sounds scientific.
Okay.
And he has come to an interesting conclusion.
And what is an interesting conclusion? What is the most important thing in combat?
Well, you see, he's using, and this is how he describes it. He's using regression analysis and machine learning to gain insights into the relationship between combat attributes, challenge rating, and combat effectiveness.
Okay.
So what he's determined is initiative doesn't really matter. I couldn't have guessed that. I suspect you.
Yeah, it will help a bit. If you stab them first, they can't stab you.
Yeah. Your attack modifier, your to-hit modifier, doesn't really matter unless you're at an extreme, i.e. you are never hitting or you're always hitting. If you're if you're in the middle of it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter for most cases. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Similarly, therefore, your AC doesn't matter.
Okay. Unless, again, it's at an extreme.
And unless you're an extreme where you can't be hit or you're being hit all the time, yeah.
Right.
What does matter?
Yes.
Really, only two things, apparently, he says.
Yes. Two things.
Two things.
Yes.
The amount of damage you do.
Yes.
And your hit points. They're the two, by far, biggest determinants of how effective you will be in a given combat.
Okay, so hit points and damage done, I would have expected to matter, but all the other stuff not mattering is... Well, that's a new one on me. Huh. Well,
it surprised me completely, and we'll put the link in the show notes, and people better than us can have a look at it and determine for themselves whether or not that's right or not. Because I don't understand all this. I just find it fascinating.
Big numbers better. You've heard it here first.
Yeah. Well, but there you go. So that's the conclusion. And so basically all that really matters is how much damage you do and your hit points.
God, amazing.
Before we do the news,
Yes.
Something dropped through my door the other day.
Did it?
On Friday, in fact.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, quite a few things dropped through my door on Friday, but I only want to talk about one of them.
Mostly bills, I imagine.
Yes. So this book.
Ooh.
Have a look at this.
Russ is holding up a book with Dungeons and Dragons at the top. Underneath it says Endless Quest, and there appears to be some sort of dwarf with a speech balloon saying, "You are the cleric." Into the Jungle by Matt Forbeck.
Yes. Yeah. So this is like a trade paperback size kind of book.
Yeah.
Do you want to check what it weighs?
Oh, okay.
We should weigh it.
Yes. For science. Oh, 286 grams.
Wow. Okay.
It's no just red, I can tell you that. And that dwarf looks like he's eaten all the pies.
So what this is? Do you
Yeah.
do you remember Choose Your Own Adventure?
Yes, I do. They were great fun.
Okay, so I was more of a fighting fantasy kind of guy because they had like the stats in them and you had your. But Choose Your Own Adventure was just the ones where you just turn to the different pages and so forth. So this is basically a Choose Your Own Adventure style book.
Yes.
It's by Matt Forbeck. Candlewick Press is producing it under license with Wizards of the Coast, which is why you've got the actual D&D logo on it.
Yes.
So I guess that makes it sort of official. There's 4 of these books apparently. The one that dropped through my door is called Into the Jungle, and it says "You Are the Cleric" on it.
Ooh.
The other ones are called apparently Big Trouble, Escape the Underdark, and To Catch a Thief, and each one's a different class.
I'm betting To Catch a Thief will be the rogue.
Maybe, I
Seems
guess.
likely. Yeah.
Anyway, so we got this, and
It looks pretty.
it looks like a sort of intro to sort of D&D almost sort of thing. This could be someone's sort of gateway into D&D. So
it's got full colour illustrations
it's
on the
gorgeous
inside.
inside. It's all full colour. It's fairly big text there. Loads of pictures and stuff. It opens up after several stomach-churning weeks at sea aboard a sloop known as the Brazen Pegasus. You finally arrive at Port Nyanzaru on the northern shore of the distant continent of Chult.
Yes.
And then, you read a couple of pages, and at the end, find your own guides, turn to page 6. Head into the jungle on your own, turn to page 9. Hire Kwanda and Kupali, turn to page 17. Page 9, you decide you can't afford to trust any guides, not when you're on such an important mission. And then there's 1, 2, 3 pages of text. Interesting. The last paragraph is you appear to be in a village built on a gigantic net which is attached to a tree. Goblins are chopping at the ropes that hold the tree down, and your eyes widen in frightened understanding as the last rope snaps, as the giant tree pings back into its upright position. The net is flung into the air, taking you and every one of the huts in the village with it, and depositing it all more than half a mile away. You get away from the dinosaur, but you can't escape the landing. The village survives, but you do not. The end. I'm sorry, Peter, you're dead.
Well, to be expected. I was not expecting the bit with the village, the goblins, and the net. That was new to me.
To be fair, there's a picture of a zombie Tyrannosaurus Rex there, and a whole load of text I didn't read.
I would expect zombies
which contextualises this, I'm sure, in some way. It makes it make more sense.
A lot more sense. But why start making sense now? It's been, 12, 13 podcasts, and we've not made a lick of sense so far. I'm not going to start now.
Yeah, exactly. All
right. Well, that's Endless Quest by Into the Jungle, Matt Forbeck.
Yes.
Exciting.
By Candlewick Press.
Candlewick Press.
We'll stick a link in the show notes. Would you like to do the news?
I would love to do news. Let's do the news.
All right, let's do the news then.
Woohoo.
If you insist.
I do. We'd be a terrible...
Fine, we'll do the news then.
We'd be a terrible news podcast if we didn't do the news. I'm just throwing it out there.
Is that what we are, a news podcast?
That's what I hear. I think it might be something to do with the name. I still think we should change it to the Wizards of Pod.
Wizards of Pod. We are not the Wizards of Pod. We will never be the Wizards of Pod. This is not a thing that's going to happen. Anyway, right, the news. Let's have a look. What do we have? What do we have in the news? WizKids, well known for their plastic miniatures and things like that, have previewed some new D&D miniature sets.
Ooh.
Okay, so what we have is a set based on Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
If you have a look here, there's
Ooh, they've got a little elephant as well.
a big elephant indeed.
Well,
With a little looks like a little thing you can actually put a figure on the top of the elephant as well, which is kind of cool.
Beholder. Oh, you've got some like portals floating around. Oh, I'm seeing a beholder.
There's a beholder, yes.
Cat
I'm
with
guessing
wings.
is that Xanathar maybe? I don't know.
It might be the Xanathar.
There's a bear. There's a leaping wolf.
Oh, yeah.
There's a Triffid? I don't know what that is.
I don't know. It's got a lot of tentacles going on.
So there's this whole set of dragon.
About 30 of them.
Yeah, it says some of Waterdeep's most notorious villains, including the mysterious Manshoon, founder of the Zentarim, and popular animals for your wild shape needs, like the dire wolf and the brown bear.
Oh, the tactical direwolf.
The tactical
tactical
direwolf and the vicious brown bear.
That's right. I see that there are further 44 figures. How exciting.
Yeah. It's not the only set, though.
No.
We have a set called City of the Dead,
I'm listening.
which has some coffins.
Yes.
It has some tombs.
Some statues,
They
perhaps?
look like weeping angels to me.
Oh, yes.
Bit of a Doctor Who theme going on there. I don't think they are weeping angels, but they are, if you know what a weeping angel looks like, you'll know basically what these statues look a bit like.
It's big, it's stone. I don't think they're covering its face, from what I can see, which would be my classic, this is how I identify a weeping angel, because it's like playing peekaboo in a sort of terminal fashion.
Yes. And finally, we have some spell effects. I quite like the look of these, actually. So
That's pretty sweet, actually.
So we got a wall of fire and a wall of ice.
Yeah.
And if you have a look at this, there's sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sort of six squares long and one wide, and one of them's kind of a blue.
So it's like a 6 by 1 inch.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to say about 4 inches tall. And it's actually like a painted wall of ice, it looks
Yeah.
like.
And there's one of fire too.
But 6 walls of ice and 6 walls of fire.
But also, there's a whole bunch of other ones. There's some spiritual weapons. There's some grasping, big beast grasping hands. There's some grasping vines.
Yeah.
Mage hand, dancing lights, tensors, floating disc. There's like loads of them.
Cloud of daggers, get in. We move on.
So, are you a fan of Savage Worlds?
I have played and run quite immense amounts of Savage Worlds. In fact, it's one of my proud boasts that I can, at a convention, do character creation and a heist all within a 4-hour time slot.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, did you know there's a new Savage Worlds coming?
Oh, really?
A new edition.
I'm listening.
It has been codenamed Savage Worlds Black for the last year or so. But the actual product, which is going to appear on Kickstarter in October, is just simply going to be called Savage Worlds.
No, yes, that's good.
That's nice and not confusing at all.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be. Well, I'm hoping it's backwards compatible with all the existing Savage Worlds stuff.
I'm not sure, but
okay.
Shane Hensley, the creator, he says, First off, we want you to know that Savage Worlds Black is officially just Savage Worlds. The black in the title was just a code name, and it was a reference to an original cover concept they had. They were originally just going with this plain black cover, which I think would have been quite cool, but they've got a cool illustrated cover instead now, apparently.
Yeah.
So they're launching a Kickstarter Tuesday, October the 16th. It's going to be 192 pages, hardback and softback versions. The hardback is going to be $39.99. Softback $29.99. There you go. In answer to your question, rest assured that the game is very compatible with previous editions and settings, and we will publish a free conversion and update guide.
Oh, nice. Liking it better.
So there we go. Savage Worlds. New edition coming soon.
Ooh, tempting.
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, yes.
They play D&D, apparently.
Well, of course they do. They are massive geeks.
Yeah, there's a comic book series.
Yes.
I haven't seen it myself. There's the cover of it there. You can see sort of Rick and Morty there, and Rick.
Patrick Rufus is an author.
Yes, indeed. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
wow.
a gelatinous cube there. There's a beholder in the background.
It's going super well.
A pink glowing D20. So it's a limited sort of mini-series thing. And the first one is out now already.
So it's a comic book, it looks like.
It's a comic book. It says, when Morty needs to learn how to play D&D to keep up with the cool kids, his hard drinking, old school gaming, mad science making grandpa is happy to teach him how to roll the dice. But neither of them is prepared for the saving throws they're about to fail or the true quest yet to come. Strap on a +1 longsword and grab your 10-foot pole, because this is going to be a gaming gauntlet like no other. I assume they end up in a actual D&D world. going to be the...
That would be a very Rick and Morty thing to have happen.
Yes, exactly. So there you go. There's Rick and Morty comic book series. It's out now, and they go into some kind of D&D world.
Yeah, there's already a Rick and Morty comic book out there, but this looks like it might be quite a sharp left turn. So,
so it's the 30th anniversary of the original Cyberpunk role-playing game.
oh wow, that's a storied game.
Yes, it is. There's going to be a new edition of Cyberpunk. It's called Cyberpunk Red, the fourth edition of the game. It will be set in the 2040s and exist as a bridge between the 2020 era and the 2077 setting of the video game, with rules based on the interlock system. I don't know the interlock system, but...
Not familiar here, but Cyberpunk 2020, and now we've got, a 2040 version we're playing. Okay.
So that's coming.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Gamma?
There's a lot of things called Gamma. Right?
The
a lot of things.
The Game Manufacturers Association.
Oh, yes, I've heard of those. Yes.
So they, amongst other things, organise their Gamma trade show in Las Vegas every year, and the Origins Game Fair.
Oh, okay, nice.
There appears to be some sort of strife going on over at Gamma.
Ooh.
There's a whole load of stuff going on.
Oh, is there drama, Russ? Is there drama?
I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. All I know
Hands rubbing
kind of
intensifies.
What's leaking through. So, Daryl wrote about this in his column.
Oh, yes, yeah.
On July 25th, Gamma voted to terminate, and by terminate, I don't think they mean as in Terminator.
I'm going to reserve judgment until I find out what's going on.
Sarah Connor. No, it's. I think that means end the contract of Deputy Director Angela Ward, who has now hired an employment attorney.
Oh.
So it sounds like there's some friction there. But then, that's not the end of the drama.
Okay.
August the 2nd at Gen Con, Gamma President Stephen Brissaud, I think that's how you pronounce his name, but because I pronounced it, that means that's definitely not how you pronounce his name.
Oh, well, we agreed on how to pronounce.
Actually, I think that might be Stefan.
Matt Forbeck's name, so he might enjoy the special virtue of being like the only person to get the name correctly pronounced on this podcast.
Well, he was expelled from Gen Con.
Oh.
Following a physical altercation with convention security.
He had a fight with security at a convention.
Well, I don't know the exact situation, but basically he was loading merchandise for his booth. And some kind of incident happened where he came into conflict with Gen Con security. Yeah, there was a police report filed and everything, and he was asked to leave Gen Con.
Wow.
So he released a statement and an apology and so forth.
Well, fair enough.
Then, finally, on August the 24th, Gamma has announced that Gamma's executive director, John Ward's contract will not be renewed when it expires in February. This is apparently a narrow vote and stuff. So that's like 3 of the sort of highest level people in Gamma in some sort of weird strife at the moment. So I don't know what's going on.
It's like their management team needs to get its act together. It's like, make headlines for good reasons, not for bad reasons. I don't know. We say this, but
So, well, we'll keep an eye on that and see what happens, but it's just interesting.
Yeah.
What else have we got in the news? Yes, of course. How could I forget? Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Ah, yes.
Comes out this week.
Oh, yes.
Friday. So Wizards of the Coast have got their copies in the office. If you have a look here, I've got some pictures of various Wizards of the Coast staff members proudly holding up the book. The book hits stores on Friday. And that's sort of special people in special stores in the Wizards Preferred Network stores.
Yes.
And then everywhere else, including Amazon and so forth, 11 days later. So that'll be Tuesday after.
Well, yes.
So looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, that's the one with the different seasons have different villains.
Yes. Yeah.
4 different villains for maximum replayability.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that's it for the news this week.
Well, yeah, but what a bumper crop it's been.
Yes. Hello and welcome back to the Perturbed Dragon Tavern. I'm here with Malach the Maleficent, who has just come across the back end of his latest attempt at world domination. I think it's fairly safe to say that this attempt didn't go quite according to plan.
Not exactly, no. But my publicist believes I should engage the press wherever I can to get them on my side. control the story, you understand?
And thus you've called this press junket to discuss your recent, I hesitate to use the word failure, but it's certainly not a success.
May I make a suggestion? Don't use the word failure.
Noted. Do not use the word failure.
I'll explain why. If you use the word failure, I will destroy you. I will kill you.
Oh.
And I will kill your family. And I will kill your friends. I will destroy your entire town. And then I will feast upon your remains.
Well,
I mean, when I say feast, I'm actually vegetarian, but I will look at your remains smugly.
So noted. I will not use that word then. So this latest attempt involves some kind of, as I recall, a rat colossus.
Indeed. I created the rat colossus as an experiment in creating rat colossi. The intention was for it to roam the globe, destroying everything it finds. Rat colossi are very, very hungry, you know, and they like to seek out cheese wherever they can. And most cities have cheese, so it was a foolproof plan.
It does sound like a solid plan.
It does, doesn't it?
So what went wrong?
Well, it turns out that a certain individual who I will not name, Dr. Victor von Wolfhausen Smythe, created his own rat colossus. Then my rat colossus met his rat colossus, and do you know what they did?
No.
They fell in love, and they ran away together to an island in the Pacific.
Oh, I see. So these two rat colossi are living together in harmony on an island in the Pacific. Interesting.
Yes, that's right. Love is a beautiful and many-splendid thing, and even two rat colossi deserve happiness.
It does sound quite beautiful. I'm quite touched by the story, to be honest.
Well, let me tell you how it's going to end.
Oh.
I'm going to seek them out, and I'm going to destroy them, and then I'm going to feast on their remains. In as much as I'm a vegetarian, so I shall probably just look at their remains and chuckle.
That does sound like the sort of thing you would do. I mean, I must express my commiserations for your latest failure, but
what?
Perhaps in the future.
What did you call it? What did you say?
Your latest non-successful attempt.
How dare you, you puny little man!
No, don't kill me. Don't kill me again, please.
I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to put you in my deepest, darkest dungeon and torture you until the next full moon.
Oh, that's in about 3 hours.
Shit. Well, it sounds like you're getting off lucky then, doesn't it?
Let's play our favourite game in all the world ever.
It's called Guess the Kickstarter from just being told the name. So all right then, let's do it. Let's do the game.
Woohoo!
Let's do the game.
Yes.
Okay.
Pick some good ones for me, Russ.
Item 1, numero uno. The first.
Yes, let's do it.
What is main gosh?
Well, main gosh is a parrying dagger.
Yes.
You traditionally hold it in your left hand. That's literally what it means. So
I'm telling you, it's not a Kickstarter for a parrying dagger.
You can't see my face, listeners, but this is the face of a deeply disappointed man. Right, I am going to say it might be some sort of expansion for Zweihander because they've got a theme going and they're going to run with it. How am I doing?
1,000,000 points out of 10.
Woohoo!
That is exactly what it is. So 300 to 400 pages.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's not an expansion. That's like a new game.
Yeah.
What?
It's an all-new, gritty and dark supplement. So there's this sort of like a new professions, new materials, weapons, armour, vehicles, fantastic machines, alchemy, witch science, new demons and their worship, 99 covenant magic spells, new rituals, new monsters, rules for conspiracies and investigations, and an investigative adventure called There's Something About Marie, or Mary, one of the two. I think that's Marie.
Let's see. Was it? Oh, yeah. Something about Marie, which I know because it's my mother's name.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, indeed.
So it's going to be a black and white book with a colour cover. Next one is Domina Magica.
Oh, right. That you're not actually just reading stuff out. I'm supposed to guess what things are.
That is the idea.
I remember now. I played this game before many times. Domina Magica. So it would be about the sort of the mastery of magic, because that's what. Domina would be like mistress or something of magic. So mistress of magic, maybe might be a new rules system, but I think maybe it's like some sort of magical supplement for something.
Okay.
Probably fifth ed.
It is a magical girl RPG by Emily Reinhardt.
Ooh.
Full tabletop role-playing game designed to emulate an episode of a magical girl anime. You create and role-play a schoolgirl in either elementary, middle or high, and run through the typical scenario of everyday school life.
I see. Sailor Moon, that's a magical girl anime, right?
I believe you.
That's what my wife tells me.
I don't know.
This sort of thing.
When you and your friends encounter strange happenings around the school, it's revealed you are the next generation of magical girls. You have been selected to help fight the forces of evil, and only the power of love and friendship that you possess will send these dark beings back to wherever it is they came from, and all before dinner time.
Good to know.
So I guess this is a game for kids. It says it's designed to be played in one session, with each game being a sort of different experience.
I'm sure many adults will enjoy having a great time playing Magical Girl.
I am sure.
RPG.
Yeah.
Domina Magica.
Yes.
Fantastic.
You scored 0 points out of 9 for that.
It's fair.
There is that. Okay, this one then.
Yes.
Entromancy.
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 ENTRO? Mm-hmm. Well, that sounds like they're trying to make a portmanteau of, I'm going to say entropy and mancy. So it's like being able to speak to entropy, or in the more modern sense of the word, like being able to manipulate entropy in order to achieve pseudo-magical effects. We've got to have entropy as a concept, so let's throw it out as like modern day or near future RPG where you play entropomancers or entromancers and wrangle from there. How's that?
Okay, yeah, you're not far off at all. I think that's a good sort of 8 or 9 points out of 10 for that.
That's good.
So let's go with 7.
Robbed!
So it's a cyberpunk fantasy role-playing game based on the 5th edition rules, D&D 5th edition rules.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Set in San Francisco, or San Francisco, depending on
whether Russ is saying it or not.
late 21st century. Like I said, system based on 5th edition. You were totally right. Chaos-based magic of the Entromancer. Interested in putting together a crew of night agents to clean out San Francisco's presidio of zombie-like ragers? Interesting. Want to stealth hack your way into enemy territory as a vanguard, enhancing your faction standing with the underrace nation of Oricombe.
Oh yes, Oricombe, yes. Looks like it's got gold.
Yeah.
I was expecting more Oricombe.
So you can be a night agent, a revolutionary, a technomancer, a terramancer, or a vanguard.
Oh.
And then there are 5 destinies, which are the Auricar Elite, the Entromancer, which is the one you came up with earlier, the Infiltrator, Inquisitor, and the Weapon Master.
Oh, sounds very exciting. There's a lot of people very happy about that sort of sci-fi using the 5th ed D&D rules.
Yeah, that looks quite interesting.
Yeah.
That's our favourite game in all the world over for this week.
Oh.
That's disappointing, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
Never mind.
Oh well. Well, what's the topic of the week this week then, Peter?
Well, one of the things that often comes up, which I see online, is talking about building communities and getting games clubs started and so forth. Like you run ianworld.org.
And you run a RPG club.
I do run an RPG club. That's why I keep talking about the Southampton Guild of Roleplayers.
Well, why don't you tell us about how you started that up? I mean, why did you start that up, first of all?
Well, basically, I was really bored and I wanted to play more RPGs, and all the people I knew, they were basically more board game players. So I think Angus put a thing up saying, hey, who wants to play Dungeons and Dragons? I was like, oh, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons. And he said he had 25 people tell him he wanted to play. So clearly there was a demand out there. Then I basically badgered him until we got together. Then we had a discussion, looked around for a venue, and started running. It was a bit of a risk, but it's worked out really well.
So how many members have you got there now?
Been away for a bit.
Right, well,
I
before
won't
you
say
left,
where
you've
I
probably
was.
got none left now, but how many before you went to China?
We've got something like 200, 300 members on Facebook. Then we've got another, like basically people who attend.
Which is what I would sort of consider to be the important number.
We've had something like 125 unique attendees.
Yeah.
And I'm told that we've had a fair amount of people signing up as members. We had at least 40 before I went, and now I think we've got in the region of 50.
Right.
So this is people who paid us £10 for a year's membership, which reduces the cost of the sessions.
What would you sort of say were sort of some of the challenges involved in sort of like setting up a local community like that?
Well, the biggest challenge is getting people to have actually heard of you.
Right.
I've been on advertising, like word of mouth, on Facebook, on Reddit. There's a site called meetup.com, which is essentially a way you can find like-minded people and get them to come together. So I've acquired 3 groups,
Right.
which are related. And they all do the same thing, but now all our meetup groups are basically me.
Right.
Just putting them all together. And also there's been a fair amount of like physical presence going around all the geek shops in Southampton saying, hey, how you doing? And asking if we can put up posters and offering to advertise them to people in Southampton, because it's all about networks. It really is. It's like if people haven't heard of you, they can't come.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like been signing up various Facebook groups and like trying to let people know. I think once you reach a certain number of people and you're active enough, then stuff starts coming through. So,
you get like a critical mass, don't you?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And then it just starts rolling on by itself.
Yeah.
So, you had any sort of like problems or any sort of like sort of community-based problems?
I've been very clear about what it is we're set up to do, which is we're here to promote role-playing games in Southampton, and to do that we're dedicated to diversity and inclusivity, which I've not personally had any problems with, but people have told me that apparently I'm a dreadful person because my emphasis...
You are a dreadful person, but that's aside from
I am a dreadful person, but this is people who haven't actually met me.
Oh, right.
So I was like, well, that seems a bit harsh. It's apparently because we're dedicated to diversity and inclusivity, there are some people who feel that I hate to characterise their position, but they think role-playing games should just be for men.
Right.
Which I find a deeply bizarre proposition, because we're grown-ups playing Let's Pretend. Everyone can... If you've got an imagination, and even if you don't think you have an imagination, you can still play and have a lot of fun in role-playing games. It's some of the best fun I've ever had. I've made some amazing friends just doing it, and it's one of my absolute favourite things to do and talk about. Part of the reason why I'm on a podcast devoted to talking about RPG news.
Fair enough.
We've had one chap who got quite angry at me over miscommunications on stuff, because online communication can be very hard, and he got really annoyed at me about many things. And he's got his own point of view, that's cool, but he decided to get very angry and start physically threatening me, which was, I felt a brave choice.
To your face or just online?
Oh, in person.
Oh.
So yes, it was not a message board hero. So, yeah, it's
What did he say? Oh, come on.
He was like,
Spill the beans.
he was waving his finger in my face quite aggressively. It was like looking like he was getting ready to start throwing punches and stuff. I was like, oh yeah. I was like,
How exciting.
well, your band, please leave.
Yes. So what was that one about then?
He had firm views about having his own personal table and had not been showing up on a frequent basis. So part of the thing is we are dedicated to diversity and inclusivity. It's always a constant battle between filling the space, but also allowing people with, say, hearing issues to find their own place so they can work stuff. So there's like a slightly quieter room, and I needed to move some of that there so it was like a bit quieter so they could actually focus and hear what the GM was saying.
Right, yeah.
It's such a challenge. I mean, part of the reason we're in the centre we are, which is the Millennium Third Age Centre, is because that's actually got amazing access. It's got step-free access from the pavement to all floors. Very, very helpful there, and it's got good lighting. It's a nice, safe environment, so people can go there and not feel that they're going to be mugged by going into a dark alley. It smells nice. We've got tables, chairs.
Tables and chairs.
I know.
Wow, the luxury.
I know.
You're telling me you've got like walls and floors and ceilings and everything.
The whole 9 yards, man. The whole 9 yards.
Wow.
And like, as I say, they're really nice to us. And then we make sure we tidy up. And apparently that makes us unusual and lovely tenants.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, so it took a bit of doing, but it's just like you just have to keep on advertising, and letting people know, and yeah, it's worked out well.
I mean, it is difficult sort of getting the word out for these sort of things. I mean, you've been using what you say, Facebook, putting posters up in. Have you got any sort of way of knowing where the various people came from, whether it's because they saw a poster or if they saw you on Facebook or stuff like that?
The single biggest way we get people in the door is because they're friends with someone else who's in the club.
Right, yeah, so networking.
And you tag people on Facebook, and then it appears in their friends' Facebook feeds and so forth. But I don't want to just like get the same people. I'm like actively reaching out to people that wouldn't normally go. So I've also got meetup.com, which it's a really good way to get people who aren't necessarily on Facebook, because they do exist. Like there are people who just don't want to have anything to do with
I know people who aren't on Facebook. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I know. It can be very intrusive and very demanding.
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter.
Yeah,
I use those two quite a bit. Mainly, I'm on EN World, obviously.
Yeah,
and
that's got like quite a lot of forums associated with it.
Yeah. Ooh, I think that's about it.
Yeah, okay. So
I mean, I've got a Reddit account, but I've never really used it.
So it's mostly you've got a lot of internet only sort of ways of bringing people together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Whereas I'm more focused on physically, you come to our place and you role play and we sort you out with a game and hook you
all
up.
right, don't rub it in. All right, so you've got a life. All right, okay. I get the message. I see the subtext here.
Well, to be fair, it's been really good for me because it meant that people that I've met purely through the club, I've actually made quite good friends with, and they came around my house the other day just so we could catch up because they've been running in my absence. And I said, I was showing them my library because I have books and stuff, and they was like, well, it's like you want people to see your books, and then I was like, those are some books that my wife bought me, and I said, I could run that game for her. I was like, yeah, that's good. And next thing you know, there's like a little message chain exploding all about how we're going to the Rise of the Dragon Queen and like the Horde of Tiamat with an all kobold party. Yeah, it's a terrible idea, but it might just be fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, my experience of gaming has always been sort of home games.
Yeah.
So I've got a Thursday night group, which is round at my friend Nick's house. It's basically this group has been in existence for, some members of it, going back to when I was about 20, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that group's been around for a long time, and it's been, held at various places over the years. And then there's some other people that have drifted in. There's probably about a good dozen other people that have drifted in and out over the years. Yeah. Yeah, so I've basically had a fairly steady gaming group going for all that time. Yeah,
I mean, and that's really important because like these like individual home games are essentially the backbone of any role-playing game
community. Although, of course, things like online streaming games and stuff are really, really big now.
Oh, absolutely,
They're making a big difference.
You have to remember when you talk about RPGs, you're not alone. There are like they're out there, man. The geeks are out there. It's just like often people tend to be quite
anywhere I've gone, there's always been they are definitely out there, and I think more so in America than here, and there's plenty of them here. Oh, and that I mean, to an extent, I suppose it's partly just sort of a networking thing in the people that I associate with are more likely to be gamers, and therefore their friends are more likely to get gamers. So maybe I have this slight sort of bubble effect where, I keep meeting people who are gamers just because of who I know and things like that.
Exactly. It sort of snowballs on
itself. Yeah. So, maybe we do have this sort of mild echo chamber effect where maybe we think there's more of them out there than there are. I don't know. But
it's possible.
Quite a lot.
Yeah. But I mean, part of it has also been that role-playing is cool now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, you're doing like the news section about... what was it? It was a section about there was some people, Rick and Morty.
Rick and
Morty
Morty,
wants
yeah.
to be like the cool kids who are doing the RPGs.
Yeah, well, like D&D is like, so it's not just in that though, is it? It's on the Big
Stranger
Bang Theory, it's Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
Mm.
But then again, you think about it, it was in E.T.
Yeah.
It goes back that far. I mean, it's always been in pop culture, but just at the moment, much more so.
Absolutely. I think part of that is due to the fact that people have grown up playing D&D and they're like...
And they're now the people making stuff.
Yeah, they are now the people making stuff. And they're like, hey, you know what, let's not just stick with, I'm going to have to say it, like tired and vaguely racist tropes from the 1970s. It's like, because a lot of it has been really inhospitable. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you had a woman on a book, she had anatomically improbable cleavage and spine and the best Liefeld traditions. It's one of those things. I mean, there are some things which are always true. Like, there's always gamers out there that they just don't know they're gamers yet. You always end up, as a GM, buying the games that you want to play.
Right, yeah.
And you can never get anyone to run them for you. Unless you're lucky.
See, I'm slightly different. I think I prefer running games to playing them. In fact, I think sometimes I get, I don't know, not bored, but I don't know. I definitely, when I'm playing a game, I kind of wish I was running it. And I think, generally speaking, I get more pleasure out of the running it side of things than I do the playing side of things. And I know that's not the same for everyone, but that's just that's just it for me. So I just enjoy that process of running a game more than I enjoy the process of playing one. I don't know why. It's not.
Is it the storytelling aspect?
It's not a control thing. Definitely,
No.
It's not. Maybe an element of the storytelling aspect, I suppose. Yeah.
And you do get to play a lot more characters as a GM.
There's that too.
You are the cast of thousands.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm any good or not, but I enjoy it, and people seem to enjoy it.
But the one reliable metric of are you doing a good job is are your players having fun?
Yeah.
And the reliable metric for that is do they keep coming back?
Well, there is that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
if they keep coming back.
Well, I am blackmailing them, of course.
Oh well, yeah, obviously.
Apart from the one I'm paying, but
I had wondered about those nude photos you made me take. Bad news for us. I don't care.
Yeah, but I prefer to run games and play them. I don't mind, and I really like writing them as well. So.
Yeah. Oh, you should come down the club and run some Judge Dredd for us.
I probably will. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Although, having said that, I've now moved on to a season approach.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, because what we were doing was we're just basically
people end up just sitting in the same groups forever. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a thing that a lot of clubs struggle with, and I think a lot of people have got the same solution you have.
I saw it from a role-playing club that's about 20-30 miles down the road, Bournemouth Berserkers.
Yeah.
And we've got Portsmouth Guild role players over to the other side, but I think they're doing different things. So and that's the thing. Once you've got the group started, you reach out and you try and get on with other clubs. I think the worst thing that can happen is people regard it as competition. It's basically not. It's basically all about expanding your networks because people are going to go to whichever club is closest.
Yes.
Ultimately, it's like supermarkets. You go to one that's by your house, unless there's a really good reason not to.
Yeah.
Like if you go to a place and it's full of rotten apples, you would never buy fruit at that supermarket ever again.
Or maybe I would only buy fruit at that supermarket.
Well, your own things are your things, but apples that you did not want, right? But yeah, but this means that if people come or if they move, they're like, oh well, I know about this, and every person that you reach is basically a node that tells all the people they know, or hopefully they tell them about it. So someone says, oh, I want to roleplay, and they say, oh, there's a place over in Southampton that does it. In the same way that people come in the door and say, oh, I've come over from Portsmouth because I've heard of you. I'm like, well, it's nice to have you in. Let me tell you about the Portsmouth Guild of Roleplayers.
Okay, so should we do the competition?
Yes, let's.
Do you remember the question from last week?
I vaguely recall something about how many piles of dust were in the corner of Malach the Maleficent.
You can't say it either, good. It's not just
Malach the Magnificent.
Malach the Maleficent. I still can't say it.
Oh, Malach the Maleficent.
Yeah, for some reason that word just won't come to me. I don't know why.
Well, clearly you're not a big fan of Angelina Jolie.
Yes, that took me a second. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Indeed.
Right, so we got a whole load of entries to last week's competition.
Yes.
The prize was a copy of Judge Dredd and the Wars of 2000 AD.
Wow.
I think we got 10 entries, or was it 11? 10 or 11 entries.
What? That's a crazy amount.
And the question was, how many journalists did Malach kill?
Yes.
And the answer to the question is, of course, not 47,
Not 47.
but 48, because he killed me at the end.
That's awkward.
Yes, it is awkward.
You're looking well for it.
Thank you. I got better. So I'll just quickly whip through the various people who mentioned.
We should stop having him on the podcast if he's going to go around killing the host.
Yeah.
It's just rude, man.
Let me just check how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 entries.
10
That's good.
entries.
So we can roll a d10 for them.
I was going to say 11 would be awkward.
Yes.
Okay, listeners at home,
Right.
please try and ensure that you only write in with even numbers, preferably of a polyhedra.
Yes, if you could like pair up with another listener and then agree to both enter at the same time, or neither of you, that would be a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy for you all to enter. It's cool. Just give us a heads up.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
entry number 1 was from Andrew Winterburn.
Oh, thanks for listening, Andrew.
He says, Morrus and Peter, before I attempt to answer this week's competition question, could I say many thanks for the weekly podcast, which I have had the pleasure of listening to from the first episode.
Andrew, you're very welcome.
It's great to be entertained and informed on the goings-on in the role-playing games industry while commuting my way into Melbourne's CBD each Thursday morning. I don't know what CBD is.
Central Business District.
Oh, okay.
Well,
There we go.
good stuff. We've got listeners in Australia. I'm so excited.
I must also say I'm looking forward to getting my hands on Judge Dredd and the Wars of 2000 AD one way or the other. So,
yes.
how many journalists has Malach the Maleficent... God, why can I not say that
Malach
word?
the Maleficent.
Turned into piles of dust.
Just call him the M-Dog. That's fine.
The answer would appear to be 0, he says. Interesting. There are 47 piles of dust in the interview, according to our brave journalist, to which he is added, making a total of 48 piles of dust. However, according to Malach, they are made of ash, not dust. And who are we to argue? Okay,
Just not
next
a
one.
yes. Yeah.
Graham Alexander, who says, Borak Thung, fellow gamers. Someone's a
Borak
2000
Thung
AD
indeed.
fan.
Well, that's good.
Malach the Maleficent incinerated 48 journalists, which includes Paul Morrus, into piles of ash. Well, he did specify ash as well. Perhaps Malach would be better saluted to a career in the Justice Department's Linguistics Division. He would certainly appreciate the lawgiver's incendiary rounds. For crimes of suboptimal pronunciation, the sentence is death. Splendid, Verthric.
Thank you very much for listening, Alan.
You know, like
I'm enjoying that burn.
The listeners' emails are basically better than our actual podcast.
Yeah, I know. Try not to draw attention to it.
Okay, we have Lee Donovan.
Hey, Lee.
Hi, Morrus and Peter. Great podcast this week, and props to Daryl for tying all the various Skype feeds together.
Indeed. It was no doubt a mighty effort.
Now, before I answer the question of how many journalists were turned to dust by Malach the Maleficent,
Millie the Maleficent.
he's making a joke in writing by misspelling it multiple times.
Oh, I see.
See? I am going to make a few assumptions. Number 1, you are talking about journalists cold in this interview.
Yes.
2, none of the later journalists were dusted. 3, despite clearly having access to a scroll of resurrection, the blood-curdling scream at the end of the interview was Russ going the way of half of the Avengers.
Topical. Okay.
4, none of the
Spoilers!
orcs in Malach's horde were war correspondents, battle schools, or had any other official journalistic qualifications. That's a good point, because during the sketch he did in fact destroy his horde of orcs.
Did.
But we're agreeing that they weren't journalists, so they don't count.
You don't know that. Sounds terrifying.
Based on these assumptions, the answer is 48.
It seems legit.
He says, I may get a little overexcited if I win, so I'll keep an extra pair of trousers on hand when listening next week, and if not, I am probably going to back the Kickstarter anyway. All the best, Lee Donovan.
Oh, thank you very much for listening, Lee. And thank you for that detailed analysis of the situation. You can't pay for that sort of thing.
Next we have Mark Rosenthal.
Are you sure?
Fairly sure it's Rosenthal. I seem to remember he told us it was Rosenthal.
Okay, we apologise, Mark.
Greetings, Morrus and Peter. Congratulations on the upcoming book. I hope the Kickstarter outperforms all your expectations.
Woo!
So do I. Malach the Maleficent, make sure you pronounce that correctly, immolated 47 unfortunate reporters at the beginning of the interview, increasing to 48 by the end with one escapee. Mark Rosenthal.
I'm so pleased that they're listening to our podcast with such fantastic attention to detail. Thank you very much.
Paul Venner says...
Hello, Paul.
Hi.
Thanks for listening.
Hi, he says. Hi.
Hi. Good
Hi, Paul.
choice. Strong opening line. I like it.
The number of journalists reduced to ash is 48. 47 previously reduced, and then the poor, unfortunate interviewer.
Which would be you.
Which will be me.
Yeah. Sucks for you.
But as we established, I have gotten better.
Yeah. The Clayton stick.
Our good friend Tyler McConnell.
Hey, Tyler. Nice to hear from you.
Hi, Morrus. Hi, Peter. There were 47 piles of dust for 47 journalists. The final journalist wasn't turned into a pile of dust because you can still hear him screaming at the end. After all, genocide can get so samey. Looking forward to the Judge Dredd Kickstarter. Last week's episode did a great job hyping it up. Best, Tyler McConnell.
Oh, that's a good point. Were you turned into dust, Russ? Or ashes?
I think I was.
You think you were?
I certainly intended to be when I...
That was the intent of the recording. So we get... Oh, Tyler. Oh, I don't know what to say.
I think we've got so many people that have got valid arguments. I think we're probably just going to let them all...
It does sound plausible.
Yeah.
And as with both GMs, we do know that a good plausible argument is everything we want. Because that's buy-in right there.
Jay Robinson
Yeah.
says, Malach the Maleficent turned 48 journalists into ash, including our unfortunate interviewer. Thanks for the mention last week.
Nice.
David Anderson says, I'm a huge fan of your podcast.
Really? Oh, well, I mean, yes, of course you are. Thanks so much, David.
We have a fan!
Yay!
And I put it in my weekly list of listens from episode 1.
Oh, thank you.
I'm also a big fan of your wine game, and I'm looking to use it for a street-level superhero game I want to run.
And by one game, he means what's old is new.
That he does.
Yes.
This week's answer, he says, is a bit tricky because as the interview started, there were 47 piles of used-to-be journalists.
Yes.
At the end of the interview, it would seem there are 48. Keep up the great work. David from Tampa, P.S. Yes, it's hot here.
Indeed, I imagine it is very, very warm in Florida. So thanks for listening, David.
Carl White's next.
Yes.
Carl White says the interviewer observed 47 piles of journalist dust. He then failed to pronounce Malach the Maleficent's name correctly and became 48.
Yes, of course.
However, he points out that, of course, Malach threatened to destroy the interviewer's family, friends and town. We can probably assume there were more journalists among the interviewer's extended circle of victims, and that's before we consider the remaining interviews, which, on past form, are likely to result in further fatalities. So I think I'll go with 48 with the following caveats: that we know of, and so far.
I'm liking the amazing precision of these answers. Thank you very much for listening.
Loving the podcast, and I was delighted to have a full episode dedicated to the upcoming Dread RPG this week. Can't wait for the Kickstarter, though I suppose winning this week's prize would mean I wouldn't have to. Please keep it coming.
It's true.
Yes.
I had not considered that.
Here we go. Paul Bendel.
Hey, Paul, thanks for listening.
Hi, Morrus, but not Peter. Ha! He doesn't mention you.
Spud. I've tried my card.
Great podcast, and counting the days until 25th September. Malach has turned 48 journalists into piles of dust.
Good work.
Good work, good work, good work. So that's how I mentioned. We've got 10 of them.
Yes.
So would you like to roll a d10? I think let's call them all correct and valid entries.
I didn't hear any which were obviously incorrect. I thought that they're all valid.
None of them offended my sensibilities.
Yes. Okay. So the wizards.com D&D/dice/dice.htm result is 4.
Number 4.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And our winner is?
Our winner is David J. Robinson.
Hey, Robin
Malach the Maleficent turned 48 journalists into ash, including our unfortunate interviewer, J. Robinson. You are this winner.
Woo! Thank you so much for everyone else who entered. Good luck next week. Good luck this week.
We need a question. So the prize this week, because so many people in last week's competition said they were so excited about the Judge Dredd book.
Yes.
I'm gonna do the same prize again. Another copy of Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD to the person who gets the answer to this question correct. Would you like to ask the question this week, Peter?
Yes, I would love to ask the question. The question would be, what is the name of the person who created the giant rat colossus that thwarted Malach the Maleficent's giant rat colossus? When colossi collide, who knows? Well, we're hoping you'll tell us. If you can send your answers to
morruspodcast@gmail.com
with a closing time of Sunday, midnight GMT, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Time to sign off then.
Yeah, it'll be goodbye from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'll be goodbye from him.
Oh dear. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. It has been a pleasure, as always, to incompetently try to entertain you for an hour or so. And it's goodbye from me, Russ.
That's goodbye from him. That's always goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
I genuinely believe that was the most interesting, informative and entertaining podcast I've ever listened to. What? No, I was listening to The Infinite Monkey Cage with Professor Brian Cox. The Morrus podcast is rubbish. I don't understand why anyone would listen to it. I think I shall lock Russ and Peter in a tiny room and play Rick Astley's greatest hits on repeat to them for a week. Maybe that will make them think twice about not being the best podcasters in the world.